Ladies and gentlemen, would you please be upstanding for the Chairman of Rochford District Council, Councillor Joe McPherson, the Vice Chair, Councillor Simon Wotton, the Chief Executive, Jonathan Stevenson, and the Chairman's Chaplains, Reverend Kim Lepley.
Good evening, members and members of the public. Can I draw everyone's attention to page 3, ignoring the reference to Scrutiny and Performance Committee, but that sets out details regarding fire safety instructions and the webcasting arrangements. Please note there is no planned fire alarm this evening. In the event of a fire alarm sounding, please leave the building via the nearest exit and make your way to the assembly point located in the Market car park adjacent to the Civic Suite building. Finally, can I remind you to please switch off your mobile phones or at least turn them to silent. Thank you.
Members and guests, I would like to start by welcoming Reverend Kim Lepley, who will lead us in prayers. So please, if you're able to, please stand.
Before I lead us in prayer this evening, I just want to say, Joe, it has been an absolute joy and a privilege to work alongside you in the past year. But be assured, I may well be Joe's chaplain, but you have, all of you, been held in my prayers as you have met to debate and discuss and to pull into policy the things that you have on your agendas. It has been a great privilege and an honour to be able to do that in the last year. And so, for this AGM, let us now pray. Almighty God, we bring before you the agenda for tonight's meeting, that we who have been entrusted with the responsibility to govern and make decisions for those who have elected us, be guided by the best of motives and with the interests of all for the benefit of all. Give our councillors, Lord, clear minds and the desire to hear all points of view, including those who may be opposed to their own, with an openness of respectful debate. Make our councillors gracious and courteous to friend and opponent alike, with a real sense of working together for this district and the areas that are represented by each one of them. At the same time, Lord, we commend for your blessing the work of all the employees of Rochford District Council, who maintain, implement and make possible the words that are debated, discussed and formed into policy. Amen. If you know the words, I invite you to join with me as I say the Lord's Prayer, the family prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive them that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. So may God enfold you all in his love, fill you with his peace, and lead you in hope. And the blessing of God Almighty, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit be with you and all whom you love this night and forevermore. Amen.
Thank you so much, Reverend Lepley. Well, you've been amazing, so just thank you, simply. And I know you're going to stay for the evening.
I've got a chair reserved.
Good, rightly so. Members and members of the public, please be seated. May I welcome everyone to this evening's meeting. I would like to extend a warm welcome to our new members, Councillors Rob Ince, Gary Wheeler, Carl Turner, Catherine Reid, Robert Reid, Adi Malvia, Sanyoy Kumar Ghosh, Steve Mace, Neil Hookway, Angela Sutton, Tino Callahan and Tina Hughes. I would also like to thank the non-returning councillors, Daniel Belton, Lorraine Shaw, Mike Steptoe, Vilma Wilson, Andrew Cross, Richard Lambourne, Deborah Squires-Coleman, David Sharp, John Mason, Stuart Wilson and Julie Gooding. I thank you all for your work on behalf of the council and the residents that you have served. I would also like to thank everyone for their support and participation during my year as chairman. It's been both a privilege and an honour to represent Rochford District as chairman. Over the past year, I have had the pleasure of attending many events and meeting many inspiring groups and individuals. I could spend time talking about all of them, but best I just highlight a few. I have met inspiring organisations that make such a difference in our community, including Hackspace, Send the Right Message, Raw Learning, Trust Links, RAVS, the South East Essex Schools Music Association and Andy Mann's Club, which has expanded locally from 1 group to 3, with attendance now averaging at 75 men a week and continuing to grow. I've also had the privilege of celebrating the impact of individuals and voluntary groups at a wide range of awards, including the Rochford District Sports Awards, the Jack Petchey Awards, the King's Awards, and of course our very own Citizen of the Year Awards, where we celebrated the remarkable people who make a difference in our community. The overall winners at the Citizen of the Year Award were the amazing team of volunteers from the Hawkwell and Hockley Day Centre. The nominations for Young Citizen of the Year were truly outstanding. So to highlight just 2 of them, our Young Citizen of the Year was Lewis Martin. He raised a staggering £50,000 for Great Ormond Street Hospital through sponsored challenges, family adventures and community events. Lewis is currently in Year 7 at school and proves that age is absolutely no barrier to making a real difference. I also had the pleasure to meet the lovely Holly Baker, who, due to severe bilateral hip dysplasia, has undergone 7 surgeries rebuilding her hips. She has had to learn to sit, walk and run 3 separate times. But Holly did not stop there. She took on the challenge of walking Southend Pier to raise money for Great Ormond Street Hospital, raising over £11,000. Holly is only 3 years old. There's one organisation I met called Inspiring Change. They are an award-winning theatre project funded by the Home Office and the PFCC through the Stronger Together programme. They deliver theatre workshops in schools to combat misogyny, sexism and violence against women and girls. The project encourages discussions around healthy relationships and also while doing that, challenging toxic masculinity and harmful behaviours. It is both necessary and impactful, although I personally pray for a society where such issues do not exist. Thank you to everyone who has supported my charity this year, which is South East and Central Essex Mind, either through donations or by attending fundraising events I organised. I also try to play my own small part in those fundraising efforts with a couple of personal challenges. Participating at the Foulness bike ride, together with my family, we all got into the Christmas spirit and took part in the South East Essex, Central Essex Mind Mental Health Run. I did go for the whole mental health ensemble. May I also thank BTMK Solicitors who are kindly sponsoring their next event, which is Mind Your Paws Walk later this year. Together, these fundraising efforts and sponsorships have raised just over 7,500. Thank you. A huge thank you again to my chaplain, the ever so amazing Reverend Kim Lepley. To my Air Cadet, Flight Sergeant Charlotte Capon, to all the staff at Rochford District Council who are the cogs in this huge machine, and most of all, to my Civic Officer Oksana. Thank you. To my successor, my advice is simple. Listen to Oksana. Also, enjoy every moment, and a word of warning. Judging carrots is far harder than judging dogs. This year has reminded me time and time again of the kindness, resilience, generosity and spirit that exists across Rochford District. I've met people of all ages doing extraordinary things to help others, often quietly and without recognition. To everyone I have met throughout this year, thank you. It has been a true honour to serve as your chairman. Thank you, everyone. Councillor Booth.
I think it is appropriate to offer a heartfelt thank you from the floor of the Chamber to Councillor Macpherson for her sterling efforts this year, or last year, not too sure where we are, at what point one year stops, the other one starts, as chair. She has managed to lead and manage our meetings with great poise and passion, whilst remaining person-centred, which isn't easy with some of the characters we've had in the Chamber and will continue to have. This is also the opportunity to congratulate Councillor Macpherson on surviving, I'm never too sure reform if it's teal or turquoise, the teal wave of reform's election success across our district and Essex, and I do congratulate each and every one of you. That wave drowned so many of our experienced colleagues. But it does show what can be achieved when an independent candidate, free of national party dogmas, that have served her community with tenacity, is held in high regard and puts herself forward to be chosen as their representative by that community. Listening tonight, the amount of money you have raised has been astounding for such a worthwhile charity as mine. That I know in part an element of that was to end the epidemic of suicides amongst our young men. I will never forget meeting the family of a young male member of staff who thought his only option was to end his life. The family was broken. Personally, I would like to thank you, Joe, on a more personal level, for taking me under your wing and mentoring me in my first year as a councillor, whilst you were chair of scrutiny and I was your underling as vice chair. No one should ever be scared of scrutiny. No councillor, no leader, no deputy leader or chair, unless Councillor Macpherson is chairing that meeting. She would provide a gentle tap when I needed to be silent, and strong encouragement when she knew what I wanted to say had to be said. I have to say, sometimes to the frustration of my own group. I have come to realise she did in fact relish seeing that frustration, but not out of spite, but out of her resolute belief that truth should always be spoken to power. So I, and I hope others, will miss the finesse with which you operated the iron fist in the velvet glove. I wish you all the best as you continue to serve your community in Wakering. Reform will be incredibly fortunate to have your expertise as Chair of Communities if that happens later on, since we aren't in North Korea and there has to be a vote. But alas, that will be without me as your Vice Chair. Your successor has a lot to live up to ensure he operates with such panache. Only time will tell. Thank you very much, Joe.
Thank you. Councillor Ward.
Thank you, Chairman. You've had a wonderful year in office. It's been a long time coming, but this year you've shown us just how good a chairman you are in that role. You've been patient, understanding, and helpful, whilst always keeping us in good order. My respect for you is even greater because you have shown enormous integrity and honour by your refusal to compromise on issues where you felt you couldn't properly represent your residents. You have been an excellent chairman of this district, representing the council throughout the county, as well as being an outstanding representative for your constituents in Wakering, who, I'm pleased to say, re-elected you because you've been so steadfast as a strong voice for them. We started our journeys at the same time, back in 2010. We both had the same mentor in Councillor Michael Stark, who is sadly no longer with us. You were elected that year, while I had to wait before I joined you the following year in 2011. I continue to value that friendship we have had over the last 16 years. On a personal note, I would like to thank you for all the support you have given to the various charities you have championed, including the one I'm proud to chair, the RAF Cadets. And I'm so pleased that you've had such a good time with Sergeant Charlotte Capon, who has been the RAF representative cadet by your side. You have backed and supported us throughout the year. For that, I am truly grateful. So on behalf of my colleagues, thank you, Joe, for a truly memorable year. We all wish you every success for the future.
Thank you. Okay. It's really, really kind words. All I would say to everybody in the chamber is you will all have differing views and differing opinions at times, but there's nothing that stops us from being kind and courteous. And that's all I will say, but thank you for your kind words. Moving on, item 1, election of the chairman of the council for the 2026-27 municipal year. Do I have any nominations for chairman of Rochford District Council for the 2026-27 municipal year? Councillor FD.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to nominate Councillor Simon Wootton for chairman of the council for the municipal year of 26-27.
Thank you. Would you like to speak to Councillor Wootton's nomination, Councillor FD?
Yes, thank you. Councillor Wootton has been a colleague, leader and vice chairman for this council. He is going to be a great ambassador and I look forward to seeing him hopefully voted in.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder? Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Chairman. It's my pleasure to second this nomination. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Williams. And would you like to speak on Councillor Wootton's nomination?
Oh, thank you. Not at this time. Thank you.
If it's not at this time, it isn't at any time.
Not at any time. Thank you.
Thank you. Just checking. Are there any other nominations? I don't see anybody indicating, so therefore I declare Councillor Wootton is elected Chairman of Rochford District Council for the 2026-27 municipal year. Congratulations. May I now invite Councillor Wootton to read out the declaration of acceptance of office.
I, Councillor Simon Wootton, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to leave the chamber for a short while, Chairman and Vice Chairman.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please be upstanding for the new Chairman of the Rochford District Council, Councillor Wootton, the immediate past Chairman, Councillor McPherson, and the Chief Executive, Jonathan Stevenson.
Please be seated. Members, thank you sincerely for the honour and privilege you have given me by electing me as Chairman of Rochford District Council for the forthcoming municipal year. It is a role that I will undertake with great pride, and I will do my very best to serve this council and the residents of the Rochford District throughout the year ahead. At this point, I would like to place on record my heartfelt thanks to the outgoing Chairman, Councillor Jo McPherson, for her dedicated service and commitment over the past year. Jo has been a wonderful ambassador for our district, representing Rochford with warmth, dignity, professionalism at all times. May I also extend those comments to her consort, Norman Bright, who has supported her so well throughout the year. And I also endorse everything that has been said in the previous messages to you, Jo. I'm delighted to say that my wife, Mrs. Deborah Wootton, will be my consort and will accompany me during the year, my year of office. I very much look forward to meeting residents, supporting local organisations and representing the council across our district in the months ahead. It is customary for the chairman to announce the charitable causes that they will support during their term of office. This year, with the help and encouragement of others, I hope to do something a little different by launching the Rochford Chairman's Community Chest. The aim is for it to become a lasting legacy for future chairmen, with each year focusing on a particular theme and enabling community groups to bid for funding to support their projects and local causes. In keeping with our motto, Our Heritage, Our Future, my chosen theme this year will be supporting younger people across our district and helping create opportunities for future generations. Finally, I would like to thank the Reverend Kim Lepley, who is very kindly over there, just looking down there. Kim, thank you very much for agreeing to be my chaplain this year. You do the role with huge passion, and it's a delight for you to agree to be my chairman this year. Thank you. Thank you, members. Always good to have a helping hand from the past chairman. Right. So could I ask Mr. Stevenson to present Councillor McPherson a gift from officers? Mr. Stevenson.
Sorry, messing up the desk now. Sorry, Chairman.
Right, if I move on to item 2, appointment of the Vice Chairman of the Council for the municipal year 2026-27. May I have nominations, please, for the Vice Chairman of the Council for the municipal year 26-27? Councillor McPherson.
Thank you, Chairman. I would like to nominate Councillor Adrian Eves.
And do you have a seconder? Councillor Booth.
I would like to second.
Thank you, Councillor Booth. Councillor Newport. I was just about to ask if we have another nomination. Councillor Newport.
Thank you, Chairman. May I congratulate you on your appointment. I would like to propose Councillor Chris Stanley. Thank you.
And do you have a seconder? Councillor Hoy.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to second Councillor Chris.
And do you wish to speak? Sorry, I should have asked you.
I don't wish to speak at any time.
All right.
On this.
So we have 2 nominations at the moment. Any other nominations? No. Okay. In that case, I think we move to a straightforward vote by a show of hands, if that's acceptable to everyone. And if we can, first of all, take those in favour of Councillor Eves. If we take Councillor Eves first by a show of hands, please. You can lower your hands. And for Councillor Stanley, those in favour? And Councillor Eves, you have 28 votes. Councillor Stanley, 8. All I can say, Councillor Stanley, thank you. Your turn, no doubt, will come, but thank you very much indeed. So I declare that Councillor Eves is appointed Vice Chairman of the Council for the 2026-27 municipal year. May I invite Councillor Eves to step up and sign the Declaration of Acceptance of Office, please.
I, Councillor Reeves, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability.
Councillor Eaves, would you like to make an acceptance speech?
Good start, isn't it? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow councillors, and of course, the brave souls who voted me into this position. It's a real honour to stand before you tonight as the newly appointed Vice Chairman of the Council. I'm genuinely grateful for the confidence you've placed in me. I'd like to thank my fellow councillors for their support, guidance and patience over the years. Local government is not always glamorous. Contrary to popular belief, there are very few red carpets and absolutely no standing ovations for surviving a 3-hour planning meeting. But what we do matters. This council plays an important role in the lives of our residents, businesses and communities. Whether we are dealing with local services, community projects, difficult decisions, or even debating the exact wording of a motion for 45 minutes, our shared goal is to make our area a better place for everyone. I also want to pay tribute to our chairman, Councillor Wootton. I've had the privilege of working with him on the Planning Policy Committee over the last year, and it has been an absolute pleasure. I look forward to supporting him throughout the coming year and promise to do my best to keep up. To the officers and staff of the council, thank you for the hard work you do behind the scenes. You keep everything running smoothly, often while councillors like me might still be trying to remember which agenda item we're on. I'd also like to thank my family and friends for their encouragement and support. They've listened patiently to more conversations about council business than anyone should reasonably have to endure. As Vice Chairman, I'll look to serve with fairness, enthusiasm and a sense of community spirit. I believe good local government is built on respect, cooperation and occasionally knowing when to shut up. So thank you once again for this opportunity. I look forward to working with all of you in the year ahead, and I promise to approach the role with dedication, positivity, and maybe some fun along the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Eaves. Right, moving on the agenda. Item 3, apologies for absence. I've received 3, and they are Councillor Sarah Jane Page, Councillor Richard Linden, and Councillor Bob Milne. Are there any other apologies? Nope. Okay. In that case, we move on to item 5, which is declarations of interest on the agenda. I beg your pardon. We should have taken. Thank you. He's working well already. It did get switched around a little bit on our prompt this evening. Item 4: minutes of the meeting held on the 24th of March. For those of you that were here, are they agreed, members? Agreed. Thank you very much. Item 5: declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest here this evening by members? Councillor Malvaya.
Good evening, Chair, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, I would like to make a declaration. I'm Essex County Councillor for Rayleigh South, and so is Councillor Tino Callahan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Efty.
I think I might have a declaration for item 12, being a parish councillor for Great Wakerin, Barlin and Foulness. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Efty. Any other declarations, Councillor Ward?
As well, Chairman, for Rayleigh Town Council as a local town councillor.
Councillor McPherson.
Thank you, Chairman. Item 12, again, being a parish councillor for Barling. Thank you. May I just suggest some of our new members need to hold the mic nearer to their voice?
Yes. And Councillor Williams.
Likewise, thank you, Chairman. Item 12, and being the Vice Chairman of Rochester Parish Council. Thank you.
Oh, more hands are going up. Councillor Shaw.
Thank you, Chairman. Item 12, Chairman of Stanbridge Parish Council.
Thank you, Councillor Marriott.
Chairman, item 12, member of Holbridge Parish Council.
Councillor Carter.
Thank you, Chairman. Item 12, member of Hockley Parish Council.
Thank you. Councillor Callaghan.
Item 12, I'm on the Parish Council for Rochford.
Thank you. Councillor Turner.
Item 12, I'm a member of Canoodan Parish Council.
Right, I think that completes all the declarations. And we move on to item 6. And I would just like to say a few further words. And before I forget, ably prompted by Councillor McPherson, reminds me that these microphones are a little bit directional, as we found out. And can people please make sure that they speak very clearly into the microphone. That's not only for the benefit of us in the chamber, but it is for people viewing us online through the Council's YouTube channel. So it would be nice not to have to remind people too often on that, please. But can I also take the opportunity to welcome the new members to this council following the elections on the 7th of May. In particular, I would like to congratulate the 12 new members who make up Reform and now the largest group on this council, and also to welcome back Councillors Joe McPherson and Chris Stanley. Well done to the two of you, and well done to the Reform group. So there we are. Moving forward, I hope that we will have constructive and friendly debate, never forgetting that we are here to represent and achieve the best outcomes for our residents. My intention is to be firm but fair, and I ask in return, please, that members respect the protocols set out in the Rochford District Council's constitution. Thank you very much indeed. I turn to the Chief Executive, Mr. Jonathan Stevenson, if you've got any announcements.
Thank you, Chairman. I've got no announcements. Thank you.
I turn then to item 7, which is the election of the leader of the council for the 2026-27 municipal year. In accordance with the council's constitution, a leader and deputy leader of the council are to be elected from members of the council. And can I invite any nominations for leader, please? Councillor Hughes.
Yes, I would like to nominate Councillor Adi Melvia, please.
Thank you very much. Do you wish to speak to that nomination at this stage?
I do apologise that I haven't pronounced your name correctly. Hopefully I will next time. I've only known you for a short time, and I find him very hard-working and very easy to get on with. He's been very helpful to residents and listens to residents. He's been a great person to work with and very supportive. He will deliver what he said in his election campaign, and he will be a fantastic leader of the council, and he will do all his best for the council and his residents, and he works very well with Councillor Hawkway. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. And do you have a seconder? Councillor Sutton.
Thank you, Chairman. I second Councillor Adita Malvia as the leader of Rochford District Council.
Thank you. And are there any other nominations for leader? I'm not seeing anyone indicating. So in that case, I declare Councillor Malvia is duly elected as leader of the council for the 2026-27 municipal year. My many congratulations to you. Item 8, election of the deputy leader of the council for the 2026 municipal year. Can I invite any nominations for the deputy leader? Councillor Sutton again.
Thank you. I propose Councillor Neil Hookway as deputy leader of Rochford District Council.
Fine. And do you wish to make any speech in support?
Yes, please. I believe he has the judgment and vision to support the leader of the council, and I'm pleased to propose him.
Lovely. And do you have a seconder? Councillor Hughes.
Thank you, Chair. I second Councillor Hookway.
Thank you very much indeed. And are there any other nominations for Deputy Leader? Councillor McPherson.
Sorry, thank you. Perhaps I got this down the wrong way. I'd like to nominate Councillor Webb as Deputy Leader. Would you like me to speak on that?
If you'd be kind enough, please.
Thank you. The voice is going. And this is, with no disrespect to the person that's just been nominated at all, I just feel that for us to work coherently and well together, Councillor Webb could offer some parity to the role to work alongside Councillor Malvida. Thank you.
Do you have a seconder? Oh. It's not pantomime season yet, but Councillor Eaves.
Thank you, Chair. Again, it's no disrespect to Councillor Hookway, but I do feel that we need a little bit of balance in the council. In that we do have just 12 members of the biggest group, and there are 39 councillors here. So I would put it that Councillor Webb would be a good running mate for you in leading the council. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Eaves. Any other nominations? So, as before, we now have two contesting the position of Deputy Leader. So I will take the first nomination for Councillor Hookway first. If I can ask for a show of hands in favour of Councillor Hookway. And now if I can ask for a show of hands in favour of Councillor Webb. That's 20 votes in favour of Councillor Hookway. I declare Councillor Hookway is duly elected as Deputy Leader of the Council for the 2026-27.
Sir, on a point of order, Chairman, do we do abstentions on a vote like this or not?
More than happy to take abstentions, Councillor Hoy. Those abstaining, please. So that's 20 in favour of Councillor Hookway, 6 in favour of Councillor Webb, and 8 abstentions. So I think that completes everything, Councillor Hoy. You'll put me right if is that all right? Okay, thank you. Right, so I declare Councillor Hookway is duly elected as Deputy Leader of the Council for the 2026-27 municipal year. Congratulations. And at that point of the proceedings, I will now, as is customary, invite Councillor Malvaya to make a statement as Leader of the Council. Councillor Malvaya.
Thank you, Chair. Dear Chair, fellow councillors, officers and residents of Rochford, it is a... Yeah, is that better? Okay. It is a great honour and privilege to stand before you today as the leader of Rochford District Council, and thanks for placing your trust in us. I want to begin with a simple truth. People did not vote for more of the same. We said if you vote reform, you will get reform, and that is exactly what we will do. Rochford voted for change. Change that is real, that is visible, and that is accountable. I do not enter public service lightly. I stood for election because I believe in something fundamental. that local government must work for the people who pay for it, who rely on it, and deserve better. As a chartered accountant and a certified and a tax advisor with more than 25 years' experience in the financial services industry, I bring a very simple approach to this responsibility. Every pound of public money must be justified, every decision must be accountable, and every outcome must deliver value for the residents. Today marks not just a change in leadership, but a clear change in direction. By that I mean, if we spend residents' money, we must justify it. If we make decisions, we must be accountable. And if we promise results, we must deliver them. I knocked on 13,000 doors during the campaign, and our group campaigned heavily across Rochford, and the results for us are here for see. So residents across Rochford told us what's not working. And that is council spend on projects that they do not care about, lack of visible results, and a very clear message, no one cares, you're all the same. And they are right. And from the 8th of May, that changed. Now I'll focus on the core priorities. We will focus relentlessly on what matters most. First and foremost, financial discipline. We will identify efficiencies to improve council finances, be it in the form of reviewing spend or increasing revenue. We will challenge poor value and improve council finances. Secondly, we will try to fix issues that we've heard on the doorsteps. Some policy areas are administered at Rochford district level, whilst others at the county level. Thank you for placing trust in me by also electing me as the county councillor for Ailey South. This allows me to influence Essex County Council administered areas such as policing and highway. Some of the recurring issues that came up in our conversations include fix potholes, fix roads, put more buses, fix infrastructure. These are the things that residents deal with every day and will be prioritized. One of the residents in King George's Coast raised an issue of broken bollard. Another one highlighted a broken curb, and one of the residents in Roche Avenue mentioned traffic and parking problems in that street. All of these and more have been noted and are being worked on. Thirdly, we will support local businesses. We will back our high streets and help local businesses thrive. Review of Rayleigh Market and Rochford Market is already on top of our agenda. In order to support local businesses, we will consider free parking in Rochford on Saturdays too. This will be reviewed with the council officers and a decision made after careful consideration of the council finances. If we can identify savings through our efficiency reviews, we will pass on the benefits to the residents of Rochford, and consideration of free parking on Saturdays is a good example of that. Fourth, we will protect our green belt, and that is what we have delivered to our residents, and Councillor Hookway will talk in detail about that. Finally, we will make Rochford safer. Every resident deserves to feel safe, especially women and children. And with that in mind, we will push Essex County Council to provide more police in the area. Finally, our position on local government reorganisation. Let me be absolutely clear. We will oppose any reorganisation that reduces local representation and increases financial burden on our residents. Now, setting out the plan for the next year, for the first year, we are here not for the rhetoric, but we are here to deliver change that we promised to our residents. Within our first year, we will look at financial control, potholes in infrastructure, business support, community safety, transparency and engagement, and protection of green belt. Our approach to leadership is that we will be transparent, we will be accountable, we will work collaboratively with all the other groups, and we will always remember we are here to serve, not to ignore what the residents are telling us or make excuses such as administrative burdens. Finally, residents have given us a clear instruction and a mandate to be their voice. Now we'll match it with delivery and reform. Work has already started on several fronts, and the council, and one example of that is Councillor Robbins was out all day yesterday meeting residents and businesses. We are here to bring about change. For the residents, you heard me on the doorsteps. This is not the last you'll see of me, and I'm fully committed to that promise. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Malvaya. We move on to item 9, which is public questions and member questions on notice, and there are no public questions or member questions on notice for this meeting, which takes us to item 10, the establishment of committees and associated issues. The report has been circulated. It is before you this evening, and I will now turn to Councillor, the leader of the Council, Councillor Malvaya, to move the recommendations within the report, please.
Thank you again. We are treating as report recommendations to be moved. And I would like to outline the benefits of changing the committee structure. So the number of committees will go down from 10 to 7. We have been advised that the scrutiny committee is not a legal requirement. And we also propose to merge economic development committee into strategy, finance and planning. The other change we are proposing is to abolish the standard subcommittee arrangement and move that into audit and governance. So that's my proposal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Leader. And do you have a seconder? Councillor Hookway, and you wish to speak?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I will second the proposals put forward by Councillor Alvia.
Yes, I think you're probably experiencing what I alluded to earlier. You really do have to speak into these microphones. It is the system rather than us, but could I just appeal to people to please speak into the microphones? It's been an ongoing issue, so it's not new to us, but and I do wonder, Chief Executive, whether we could get the company to just look at it, because it's a regular issue in this chamber, but it may be just the nature of the acoustics of the chamber. Right, thank you very much indeed. Are there any other members who wish to open up the debate? Councillor Newport.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Chairman, thank you. I want to address the proposal to abolish the scrutiny committee. The report at paragraph 1.6 says, and I quote, that cross-party scrutiny is embedded into our decision-making structures and there's no legal requirement for a separate scrutiny function. That, of course, is technically correct. There's no legal requirement, but the absence of a legal obligation doesn't mean it's a good idea to remove it. The argument that scrutiny is already embedded across our committees doesn't stand up to how committees actually work in practice. Policy committees are there to make decisions and move business forward. They are not set up to step back, call in witnesses, request evidence, or follow a line of inquiry over several meetings. That's what scrutiny does. It asks the awkward questions and it holds the administration to account between elections. And let's be honest about the timing. We're heading into a period of enormous change. Local government reorganisation means this council will be abolished by 2028. Decisions that are being made right now about assets, contracts, staffing and financial commitments that will bind whatever comes next. If there was ever a time we needed a dedicated scrutiny function, it's now, not less of one. The report also proposes rolling the Standards Subcommittee into the new Audit, Governance and Standards Committee. I have less objection to that in principle, but I'd note that it adds to an already heavy workload for one committee. external audit, internal audit, risk management, treasury management, the constitution, the annual governance statement, whistleblowing, anti-fraud, member conduct, complaints, oversight, and now standards hearings on top. That's a lot of ground to cover in 4 meetings a year. I'd also ask members to consider the optics. We've just had an elections. Residents are watching how this council conducts itself. Removing the only committee whose sole purpose was to hold the administration to account sends entirely the wrong message. It looks like convenience, not efficiency. The saving is cited at approximately £19,390, but that covers the broader committee restructure, not just scrutiny. We're talking about a fraction of that to keep one committee that exists specifically to ask difficult questions on behalf of residents. I, nor my group, will be supporting the abomination of the Scrutiny Committee. I'd urge members across this chamber, particularly those who aren't part of the administration, to think very carefully about what we lose tonight if this goes through. Because once it's gone, the only people who benefit from less scrutiny are those people making the decisions. Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, also on the committee seats, would you like me to make our proposal now or later?
I think we'll keep with the debate on scrutiny, if we may, at the moment, and then we'll take the committee seats as a separate point, if that's all right. Councillor Hoy.
Thank you, Chairman. My point isn't on scrutiny, but it's around the committees. So we can add it to the scrutiny issues. I'm trying to be my hunchback side, yes. I want to speak against the proposal to move economic development, regeneration and tourism into the Strategy, Finance, Policy and New Economic Development Committee. I believe this sends entirely the wrong signal about this administration's priorities. Economic development, regeneration and tourism are not peripheral issues. They are fundamental to the future prosperity of this district. They're about jobs, thriving town centres, supporting local businesses, attracting investment and ensuring Rochford is a place where people want to live, work and visit. Yet instead of giving these issues dedicated focus, the proposal is to absorb them into what is already an exceptionally large and heavily burdened committee. The Strategy, Finance and Policy Committee already covers finance, governance, transformation, assets, legal, procurement, IT, revenues, partnerships, devolution and much more. In fact, I think I counted 27 separate items under that committee. Now we are proposing to add regeneration, inward investment, business engagement, employment skills and tourism into that same space. The inevitable question is, where will this time come from? Because committees only have so many meetings, so many agenda items and so many hours in the evening, there are, on the calendar we have to approve later, 4 meetings of this committee in the year. We should be talking about how we support our high streets, attract businesses, create employment opportunities, increase visitor numbers and strengthen local prosperity, not downgrading the importance of those conversations. What message does this send to local businesses and investors? What message does it send to residents who want to see vibrant town centres and stronger local economies? To me, the message appears to be that economic regeneration and tourism are no longer important enough to deserve their own dedicated committee and attention. That is especially difficult to understand when the Council's own corporate plan talks about creating conditions for local economic prosperity, enabling businesses to thrive and putting Rochford on the map as a destination to invest in and visit. That's also the message I appeared to have from the leader tonight. Definitely an interesting business, but this seems to downgrade it from his words to what is actually happening. I think if we genuinely believe these ambitions matter, then they deserve dedicated focus, and I think this fails to do that. And briefly on scrutiny, I do have concerns that removing structures that provide challenge risk weakening accountability, particularly with external partners, but I know that Councillor Newport has already spoken on that. For me, this comes back to priorities. If economic growth, regeneration and tourism matter, then they should be treated as priorities, not absorbed into an already overworked and overloaded committee structure. So I will not be supporting it on that basis, and nor will this group. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hoy. Councillor Booth.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak, Chair. I am also concerned, as the leader of RDR, that one of the first acts of this reform minority administration is the elimination of the scrutiny committee. As I stated previously, every councillor, leader, chair and officer should be open to scrutiny. No one is above it, and no one should be scared of it. I have heard the argument that it is now inherent within the workings of each committee, that it is a vestige of the old cabinet system. And it was indeed my suggestion last year, in my role as Chair of Audit and Vice Chair of Scrutiny, that perhaps those two elements should be merged into one. Perhaps that could be a sensible compromise this evening. But yet I failed to see it listed in audit, in strategy, in communities, in environment. It is nowhere to be found. Disappeared like the morning dew on a hot day. Why? To assume it would take place is not good enough. To hope it might happen may lead to disappointment, as it does so often in my life. I tell you what, perhaps if we all sit here silently and wait, scrutiny will arrive. It won't, and it can't. I am tremendously concerned. I am perplexed why this has happened, what replaces it, and I do seek reassurance from this new administration that it is not running away from scrutiny. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Booth. Councillor Efty.
Thank you, Chairman. Again, I have reservations about not having scrutiny. Saying that it is from the cabinet system, it's fair enough, but now we're doing this now, so on committees we're supposed to scrutinise ourselves. Stuff gets missed, and there's no actual mechanism in the committee structure that is there to actually scrutinise, especially scrutinise officer decisions. If I can refer to the Constitution, is the Scrutiny Committee, page 3.28, item C. It says to question members of committees and senior officers about their views on issues and proposals affecting the area, which has been decided on. I can't see anywhere in the new committee system where we can ask officers about decisions that have been made, and officers have got a lot of delegated authority now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Efty. Any other members wish to speak? I certainly offered Councillor Newport the opportunity to come back on the makeup of committees. Councillor Newport, do you wish to speak on that point?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. I think this decision to remove scrutiny without speaking to opposition members has been very premature, and I would urge the administration to reconsider the structure of committees and indeed put the scrutiny committee back. I have referenced about the optics, and it is very, very important. Scrutiny is one of the most powerful functions in a council, not only for opposition members, but also for the administration. I don't know if you're aware, and I don't wish to be patronising, but when we're talking about, the leader spoke about community safety, with the scrutiny function, we can actually invite the police in and talk to them about our concerns. That's a function of scrutiny. And it's not always about looking inwards, but we should be looking outwards to those other organisations. And that's a really important function. So I would really urge the administration to reconsider. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Newport. In the absence of anyone else wishing to speak, Councillor Malvaya, would you like to sum up, but obviously addressing the fairly strong concerns that have been addressed about issues that have been addressed about scrutiny.
Yeah, I've heard all the concerns and I've noted everything that's been said about on the subject. But we've had lengthy discussions with the council officers, and we do believe that there is scrutiny across all parties at the committee level structure. So, and then combining the other two committees will also generate, what will that mean in terms of benefits is it will reduce the councillor workload, it will reduce the workload of the council officers, and also generates some savings, which we can put back for the benefit of the Rochford district's residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Malvaya. In terms of taking this forward, look, I'm a little concerned that this is actually the ceremonial meeting of the year, and I do not intend that we should spend a long time debating this issue. There are obviously strong thoughts, and we've got to respect the fact that there are different points of view and somehow come up to an arrangement in the future. What concerns me, and with the greatest respect, you've had a week and this stuff has been circulated at a very late stage. And in fairness to you and other members, I think it's not actually doing the subject justice in the way that we've got to debate it at haste this evening. It is for you to decide really whether or not you would like a very short adjournment, but I don't want us to be here debating this issue in an hour's time. I want to agree a way forward so that we can either adjourn the whole item until there is some sort of consensus or not, but I just don't see that we can go on. I think there needs to be fair debate. That's all I'm really saying.
Chairman, can I make a proposal, please? Can I propose we defer this item to the next meeting?
Well, I think there's certain parts of it that we have to agree tonight. So I think, I don't think we can actually just write off the whole item, but I think
Sorry, Chairman, I was referring to R1.
Accept scrutiny. Well, the monitoring officer is telling me that what we have to agree is the structure of the council, but we can bring scrutiny in those aspects back to the meeting. Councillor Newport, if you want to make a very quick point, please.
Yep, Chairman, I think you mentioned earlier about having a short adjournment, and I would like to have the opportunity to speak to the leader about this in a short adjournment, if that's possible, please.
Right, well, can we have a very short adjournment for no longer than 10 minutes, please, if we can reach a way forward? But I think what I would like in that adjournment is some agreement on the recommendations, because there's some recommendations that must go ahead tonight. So at 20:37, I will adjourn the meeting for a maximum of 10 minutes for hopefully there to be some agreement. Councillor McPherson, I beg your pardon.
Chairman, just prior to your adjournment, I don't know if this may be a compromise, that the one part around scrutiny is deferred until the next meeting and we can agree on the rest of the paper.
I think that's a very helpful
If I have
suggestion.
a seconder on that?
I think it's a very helpful suggestion. Councillor Eaves is seconding that. But what I do want to be clear of is in the recommendations 1 to 6, where we fit that within the recommendations so that we're quite clear what we're deferring, if that's the route that we go. Right, Councillor Malvar, I do want to get to an adjournment.
Yes, so I'm quite happy with the proposal to defer this scrutiny committee item to the next meeting.
Right, okay. So in terms of recommendations, what recommendations are you carrying forward? Are you proposing?
So all the recommendations apart from the scrutiny committee abolishment.
Well, you can't, the recommendations are as they stand.
Yeah.
We've got to work out how we come up with a set of recommendations that excludes the scrutiny bit. So I think we need an adjournment. So at 20:38, maximum of 10 minutes, all right? Yeah. Thank you. Meeting adjourned for maximum of 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Reconvene the meeting, please. Right, I'm pleased to say that the adjournment time was worthwhile rather than just prolonging a debate. Could I just ask the monitoring officer just to give us an overview of the outcome of the short adjournment, and then we'll move forward.
Thank you, Chair. So following discussion with group leaders, it's been agreed that I will bring a detailed report to the next council meeting in July, and that report will be undertaken in consultation with all group leaders. Thank you, and the recommendation will be added to the report.
Right. In that case, debate has concluded with the summing up by the leader. Angelina Marriott, if you've Councillor Marriott, sorry.
Sorry. It's
if
just
you-
a point of clarification. Sorry. All it is whose seat allocation is Councillor Capon using as he is an independent member? It says that he's no longer part of his previous group, and also if somebody's not part of a group, then they can't go on the committee. Just for clarification purposes. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you. And as we go to the recommendations, I'm going to ask the leader just to address that specific point because that's covered in the various recommendations. So we are Councillor Newport.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. As I alluded to earlier, we do wish to make a nomination to one of the committees. So at what point will you take that, please?
I would suggest we take the recommendations individually, and at the point the recommendation is made, you may wish to address that point there. I think that's it. Otherwise, it starts to get a bit blurred with the whole of the report. So, in terms of recommendations, there are already 6 written down, and we're proposing a further recommendation in the light of the adjournment that the monitoring officer will bring a report to the next council meeting on the scrutiny function. Such report to be prepared in consultation with all group leaders. I gather that was the agreement from the adjournment. All right. So, could I ask the leader, please, to conclude on the report and make the recommendations, please?
Yeah, so after that brief adjournment, we have now decided that the monitoring officer will bring in a paper about the scrutiny committee aspect, but I still suggest and recommend that all the other proposals are moved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Leader. In that case, the recommendations are set out in the report. Do you have a seconder for the recommendations?
Yes, Chairman, I will second that proposal. Thank you.
Councillor Hookway. Right, if we turn, I think the best way to deal with this, it's tempting to want to take them all on block, but I think that's difficult. If we go to the first recommendation, that the committees and subcommittees as set out in Appendix A with their terms of reference be established for the 2026-27 municipal year. Is that agreed, members? Well, we need to signal Councillor Newport. Right. Well, all right, okay. We'll go to a vote, a straightforward vote. I thought you wanted to speak on the...
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, Chairman. I thought R1 was being amended by the monitoring officer giving us new wording. Am I wrong?
Well, I haven't been given any information that R1 is being recommended, so I'll take it straight to the vote. I've actually just read it out, so can I have those...
So on a point of order, Chairman, we've just had an adjournment, we've had a discussion. The Monitoring Office very clearly stated that they're going to bring a report back to currently the July meeting. I wish it was earlier. That must be an amendment to R1. Otherwise, I cannot vote for R1.
Well, I've just made the point, the Monitoring Officer just spoke, and we're going to bring back a totally fresh recommendation R7. Right, I'm going to ask the Chief Executive just to tell us exactly what, in terms of recommendations, you're proposing.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, councillors. I think, based on our discussion, we said for R1, which just needs to be included, that the current committee proposal in Appendix B, we add in audit and governance, the current scrutiny function of the council sits within audit and governance until R7 later in the proposal is agreed. The monitoring officer brings back a paper on the scrutiny options to the council. So it will currently sit within audit and governance until that paper comes back at the next available council meeting. Is that okay? We'll update R1 to...
Sorry if I may, Chairman. That's not. I was in the room, and that's not what in my head was agreed. So I'm sorry if my head's a bit wrong, but we agreed that R1. I think you're adding a new recommendation. Is that correct? As R7 for this paper. To my mind, it should be in R1 itself. Otherwise, R1. That's the problem. R1 in itself, I cannot agree to. If R1 is amended to include what you said with being R7, that's acceptable.
Right, we've got to respect the fact that the monitoring officer guides us in these matters. The monitoring officer has pronounced, unless the monitoring officer wants to revisit it, we will actually take the recommendations as set out, and there will be the traditional vote for or against. You know, we can't continue an incessant debate on the same subject. If the monitoring officer wants to provide any clarification to R1 in relation to the adjournment, which you were part of the meeting, I wasn't, but Councillor McPherson, I'll let you...
Thank you, Chairman. Just want to try and get this calmed down so we could vote on it. Perhaps my colleague behind could make an amendment to R1 that may satisfy them. To include what you want to include. Would you like to say that?
What is the advice of the monitoring officer on that?
Councillors, can I suggest that we amend R1 and we include R7 within R1 so that within R1 we have part 1 and part 2? Is that? Thank you.
Right, so moving to the recommendations, R1, Councillor Ward, very briefly.
Yeah, it is very briefly, actually. I'm totally mystified at this moment. I don't know if anybody else is. I'd need clarity on what I'm actually voting for and on. Total clarity, what we are voting on. Thank you, Chairman.
And that's a very fair point, and I was just about to try and provide a bit of clarity. Because, like you, until a few moments ago, I'm totally confused as well. But we have recommendation 1, and we have a second part to recommendation 1. And the first part is as written in the agenda, and I've read it out once. And the second part I've also read out was going to be R7, but just for assistance, that the monitoring officer will bring a report to the next council meeting on the scrutiny function, such report to be prepared in consultation with all group leaders. Does that help? Good. On that basis, can I have those members voting for recommendation 1 as amended? Well, after all that, unanimous. Right. It is warm in here, isn't it, Councillor Brewer? Fan away. Right. Recommendation 2, that the size of committees and the allocation of seats to political groups on the committees be as set out in Appendix B. Is that agreed, members? If I can have a vote in favour. And that is unanimous. We go to recommendation 3, that the nominations of political groups to seats on committees and joint committees as set out in Appendix C be confirmed and the monitoring officer give effect to the wishes expressed by political groups as to the members of the group that shall fill the seats allocated to them where these are not set out in the appendix. Councillor FD.
Can we have the clarification? I think this is probably about the right place, about Councillor Capon. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll turn to the leader in a moment, but just let me take Councillor Hoy's point.
It's exactly the same point. I would just meant to not have raised this with the monitoring officer before this meeting. I would also add that in 2024, we did discuss this with the then monitoring officer, and we were advised that we were not able to appoint people who were not in a group to a committee space for that group. So we could not, for instance, nominate a non-Lib Dem to a Lib Dem seat.
Okay.
So that was the advice of the then monitor officer. I think the conclusion was that you could possibly do that if there was unanimity within the council, but that was the issue. So we were told previously we could not do this.
Right. Councillor Hoy, if I can turn to the monitoring officer to help us, assist us in that ruling, and then I may turn to the leader to help provide clarification, and then we will take a vote.
Thank you, Chair. As discussed with members earlier, the independent member has not been included in the calculation for political proportionality. However, the Reform Group have confirmed that they are proposing to give 2 of their allocated seats to the independent member, and that does meet the requirements of the legislation.
Thank you. And does the leader wish to add?
I fully agree with the monitoring officer. I would like to go ahead with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. So I've read out the recommendation. Can I have those voting, please, in favour? Councillor
Sorry, Chair. If I may, it's just a clarification. Councillor Capon's got a vice chairman on my sheet as planning policy, so I didn't. Could you just repeat what the monitoring officer repeat her explanation about the seats, please?
So as I've indicated earlier, the independent member has not been included in the calculation for political proportionality, as he's not entitled to a seat on political groups. However, the Reform Group have confirmed that they are proposing to give 2 of their allocated seats to the independent member, which is lawful.
So with that, we will now vote in favour on recommendation 3. To begin with, those in favour? And those against? And any abstentions? So that's 26 in favour, 8 against and 1 abstention. And we move on to recommendation 4. And this may be the point that Councillor Newport wishes to come in before we actually go to the recommendation itself. Councillor Newport.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So for R4, I'd like to propose Councillor Hoy. But I'd also like to make the point of, as during our discussions, the scrutiny function will go into audit. Although it's not a legal requirement, it is good practice to have an opposition member. And at the moment, Councillor FD and Councillor Ward, who are in coalition with Reform, it should actually, those seats, that certainly the chair should be an opposition member, in my opinion, and the opinion of my group. So on that basis, that's why I'd like to nominate Councillor Hoy. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Newport. I don't think you made it exactly clear what committee you were referring to.
I apologise. That was Audit, Governance and Standards, which will incorporate the scrutiny function.
Thank you. I thought it was, but for the tape, I just wanted to... Right. Did I see someone...
Sorry, Chair. I'm gonna second that, by the way. Hello.
Sorry, who?
Yeah, I'm seconding what?
Councillor O'Leary.
Yeah.
Do please stand up when you're
I beg
in
your
full
pardon.
council.
But yes, I'd like to second what Councillor Newport just said, just before we forget to do that.
Okay, all right. So there's a nomination for Councillor Hoy, yeah, for that audit function. Was there someone else? Councillor FD.
I take a little bit of exception, Chairman, that I'm not an opposition member. I'm not part of the administration, so I take a little bit of exception of that being tied in with the administration.
Thank you, Councillor FD, for making that clarification. And I think I saw Councillor Hookway indicating.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Yes, I picked up on that as well. There is no formal arrangement between Reform Group and the Conservative Group. If there's any arrangement, it is a formal gentleman's agreement. Thank you.
Councillor Constable.
I just come back, point of order, Chairman, there's no agreements. Thank you.
Can I say my bit?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Councillor FD for that position as Chairman.
And you have a seconder? Councillor Marriott. Right, okay. I think the time for debate is over, in the sense that we have nominations. We have nominations and it becomes a straightforward vote, I think, in terms of the chair of that committee. So if we turn to the chair of Audit, Governance and Standards, and we had the first nomination from Councillor Newport, seconded by Councillor O'Leary, for Councillor Hoy. Those in favour of Councillor Hoy? Right, lower your hands. And those against, please. And any abstentions? 2, 3. So that's 9 in favour, 23 against and 3 abstentions. And we turn to the vote for Councillor Efty. Those in favour, please. So it goes. Yeah, I mean, as it's already a nomination within the paper, it just is encompassed within the recommendation. So there we are. So we turn to recommendation 4, that the chairman and vice chairman of committees as set out in Appendix C be appointed. Those in favour as set out in the report. And those against? And abstentions? So that's 26 for, 8 against and 1 abstention. That recommendation is carried. Recommendation 5, the calendar of meetings for 2026-27 municipal year as set out in Appendix D be approved. Can I have those in favour, please? Those against? And those abstaining? Right. 27 for and 8 abstentions. And recommendation 6, that the monitoring officer be authorised to make any necessary amends to the council's constitution to give effect to these recommendations. Those in favour, please? And those against, please. And abstentions, please. (28 for and 7 abstentions). So that completes that item. Wasn't too painful, was it? Right. Councillor Constable.
I've got a query on the calendar of meetings. I just realised I should have brought it up earlier. Item 1.25, page 7, says that the meetings will be brought forward to 7 o'clock.
No,
Is that correct?
Councillor Constable, we have actually voted and it's been agreed, so sorry you missed it, but... Right. Okay, we turn to item 11, dispensation for councillors. Can I ask Councillor, the leader, Councillor Malvaya, to introduce the report, please?
I would like the report recommendations to be moved, and the rationale behind is good governance. Thank you very much.
Sorry, Chairman, I didn't hear what the leader said. Sorry, Chairman, I couldn't hear what the leader said.
Sorry. Is that better? Yeah. So, I would like the recommendations in the report to be moved, and the rationale behind is good governance. Thank you. Is that clear? Thank you.
Thank you. And do you have a seconder for that report? Councillor Hookway, do you wish to speak now?
Yes, I will be seconding that motion.
Sorry, I have said on several occasions this evening you do need to speak in.
Yeah.
becomes a bit of a well-worn record to keep saying it.
Sorry. I will be seconding that motion.
Thank you. Right. Anyone wish to debate? No, so we will go to the recommendation, and that is that the council grant a dispensation on an ongoing basis for a maximum of 4 years or until the vesting day of any new authority to enable members to participate and vote in the following matters, irrespective of them otherwise having a statutory disclosable pecuniary interest. Point 1, approval of the council's revenue and capital budgets and setting of the council tax precept subject to the arrears exemption. 2, where the authority acts as a corporate trustee. And 3, approval of the members' allowances scheme. Can I have those in favour, please? And that's unanimous. Thank you very much. And we turn to item 12. And again, can I ask the leader, please, to introduce the report?
This report is the LGR recommendations, and we as a group would like to oppose it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You've spoken to the report. Do you have a seconder for the recommendations, or?
Yeah, Councillor Hookway.
Right.
Yes, I second the matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Hookway. Chief Executive, will you indicate you'd like to speak?
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, councillors. Firstly, I apologise. This report is coming to annual council. Unfortunately, with government deadlines with regard further to the Minder 2 decision that was given to us on the 26th of March this year with regard to local government reorganisation in Essex, they asked us to respond by the end of this month. Hence why this report is coming to annual council and wouldn't normally come to an annual council of this nature. The report, hopefully, some bits of it self-explanatory, but the government have asked us in the letter in Appendix A to respond on 4 items, which is highlighted in the response set out in points A to D. The council obviously may have different views on this report, and I'm happy to listen to the debate on this. But the council does need to respond, even if it's a respond to say we're not looking to respond and not provide anything, but at least to say to government our response is that respond in option 1 or not respond at all. So we just need to let government know what our response is as a council. Also, you may have a view on LGR. If the government go ahead with LGR and put the order through Parliament in the autumn, this report is providing a response to government. So even if you don't agree with LGR, you might want to consider, if it is agreed through Parliament, that this is our response as a council. So, but I'll obviously leave that for members to debate and discuss. Thank you. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. Right, I turn to debate, and I turn to Councillor O'Leary.
Thank you, Chair. I find it quite interesting that the Reform Group have been voted in on essentially a change platform, but on this item they don't want to change anything. But what I'd like to ask the Chief Executive is, if we don't approve these, or we don't approve the proposed responses tonight, what are the ramifications going forward from that?
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Councillor Sutton. So the government have asked us to respond. We don't have to respond, but if we don't respond, the government obviously could make their decisions based on their own views rather than any views of this council or the other 14 councils that are responding. We're looking to put a joint response in, but obviously if we respond, we'll respond based on the recommendation or any variation you want to agree tonight, or the response will be Rochford hasn't got a response on LGR to the government.
Thank you, Councillor Newport.
Thank you, Chairman. Like you, Chairman, as a previous leader, sometimes we have to understand our responsibilities, and that is to lead on behalf of our residents, and to simply walk away is not good enough. So I'll be supporting this, because if we do not put a response in, this will be done to us if it goes ahead. And that's if LGR does go ahead. No one knows for certain. There are some that wish it not to go ahead because they like Essex County Council and the potholes and the highways issues we all face on a daily basis. I've heard and seen election material saying this council's broken, but now apparently we want to keep this council. We want to keep Essex County Council because that's broken as well, apparently. I sat on Essex County Council for a few years, and yeah, I agree there's a lot of improvements to be made. Whether LGR actually will fix any of that, I think remains to be seen, but there has to be an alternative to what we've already got. So I believe we should be putting a response in. I think it's the right thing to do on behalf of our residents. It's the right thing to do on behalf of our parish councils, because I don't know if anyone's actually consulted them as to whether we're not going to supply a response on their behalf. And I believe that should this go ahead, that we will want the extra funding available. So I will support this on the chance that LGR does proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Newport. Councillor FD.
Thank you, Chairman. Right, Chairman, I've read in the press that Reform the administration of Essex County Council seeking to stop local government reorganisation. But until that happens, we as a council have a responsibility to be involved. I, like my fellow members of the Conservative group, never wanted sought local government reorganisation. We are a sovereign council that is well run and debt free. When and if the government decide to cancel local government reorganisation and leave what is not broken alone, will be a great day for our residents, so I'll be supporting option 1.
Councillor Webb.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd just like to draw members' attention to table 2.4, or table on 2.4, page 5. It's a very simple point, Chairman, but one that I feel I want to speak out on behalf of my residents. And they are the residents of Hawkwell East, and since no one else has done it, I will speak out on behalf of the residents of Roach South. These are the 2 wards that will only have 1 councillor in the new system, and everywhere else will have 2 councillors. If you look at the difference in the number of electorate and number of voters, it's only 100 more in Hawkwell West compared to Roach South, and yet Roach South will have 1 councillor, Hawkwell West will have 2, and my ward, Hawkwell East, will only have 1. Chairman, that's not good enough for my residents, and I can't support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Webb. Councillor Hoy.
Thank you, Chairman. Sorry, my phone buzzed, and I've just learned that Arsenal are the Premier League champions. Man City lost. That was on another note, so sorry. I think this is really important. We often, on councils, come across things we may not support. I opposed local government reorganisation when it was first announced, but I've listened. I've listened to people, I've listened to Conservatives, I've listened to Liberal Democrats, I've listened to Labour people, so I've listened to independent people, I've listened to leaders from across the county and from around the country, and my mind was changed because I could then understand what was happening, the benefits it would give us. There might be arguments about whether it should be 3 unitaries, 4 unitaries, 5 unitaries, and I know that's happened within this council as well. I think when we are faced with something we disagree with, it's very important we just don't ignore it, but we do respond, because on the basis that this will go through and we don't put a response in, I believe we're letting down our residents. Just because we don't agree with something doesn't mean we should not put a response in. The response can be framed around what you don't like, but it should still be put in. And I think we as a council would be remiss if we do not agree to option 1. And perhaps this is another learning curve for us all, that we are here as councillors, we listen to debates, and we are allowed to change our minds. And I think I've said that previously in council meetings as well. So on that basis, I will be supporting option 1, but it is obviously still an opportunity for the leader to change their mind as well.
Right. Councillor Marriott and then Councillor Constable.
Just a quick question, please, Chairman. Could Councillor Webb's comments be included in the response?
Thank you. Indeed, they will. assuming we go for a response. But Councillor Constable.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In view of paragraphs 2.6 to 2.8, Rochford is currently consulting on 3 and 2 year terms to enable elections to be held in 2030. If this is approved tonight, would a Chief Executive be writing to the parishes to inform them of the changes, as many will be discussing the earlier changes that they was asked to consult on at their June meetings?
Mr. Stevenson, do you wish to respond to that?
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Councillor Constable. So the government, the challenging around this situation is obviously we're out at the moment with regard to that review at the same time as the government is trying to lay legislation in the autumn. So at the moment, our response is going to be what we know. The government have asked us to respond, so we're responding as is. As the legislation is laid to the autumn, we could make separate representation if there is a different view. The challenge is, would the government be able to take on board those points at that moment? So, quite right. At the moment, we're doing a number of things in local government. There are two things at the same time that possibly contradict each other. But for this, with us responsible the 29th of May, so we'll put a response in. We will make them aware, obviously, of our current review as well, so that they're aware of that point.
Thank you. Right, I think I go to Councillor Ward next, and Councillor Williams, if you could perhaps be the final speaker. I have something to say on it, but Councillor Ward first.
Thank you very much, Chairman. You know, I've listened to this debate with great care. I believe it is important, and what I'm understanding from the Chief Executive is that this is an ongoing conversation that we are having. This option 1 is basically to get us into the conversation that is ongoing. If we go to option 2, we're not in the conversation. Now, a point that Councillor Webb pointed out, he feels it is not right that 100 residents difference loses him 1 representative. I think that has to be part of an ongoing conversation. If we are not in that conversation, that will not come up. So there are lots of points, and I think it needs absolute clarification that option 1 only takes us in to further conversations. And I believe that's what you were alluding to, if I might say, Chairman. This is what it was alluding to. I mean, I do understand where Reform are coming from in regards to this, and I do empathise with what they're saying. But we are in this now. We need to go forward, and this is a conversation we need to have going forward. So I will be supporting option 1.
Thank you, Councillor Ward. If I turn to Councillor Williams, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I'd just like to emphasise the fact that Roach South would be represented by just 1 councillor. This is the largest ward in our district. By far, it goes from Little Wakering in the east down to Hawkwall in the west, which is probably 8 or 9 miles, much larger than any other ward. So, yes, I'd like this put in. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Williams. Before I ask the leader to sum up on the item, this is, for me, not an issue about local government reform, whether you support it or not. It's about a process, and it's about the chronology of that process. And we are where we are, and we know it is the government's intention to drive this ahead. I have been very public in my view about local government reform, both in this chamber, privately to a number of members. I do not support the arrangement that is being proposed at the moment. I do not want to see us being subsumed within Southend, but that is a totally different debate to the one that we're being talked about here. And it is for that reason that I agree with the points that have been made, that we can't just bury our heads and not respond, because there is a process underway, and in my opinion, we need to at least respond. There may be subsequent reasons why we shouldn't be involved with it, but that it's one of those rare occasions where I will give my own point of view because of the time where we are in the process, rather than because of the subject of LGR itself. Before you come back, I know Mr. Stevenson wanted to just make a point, then I'll ask you to conclude.
Thank you, Chairman. And just to make a point of clarification with regard to Councillor Ward's comment. So we won't not be at the table, but these 4 questions are being asked now, and I don't see them being asked again in the future. So it doesn't mean we won't be at the table for the rest of the discussions, but it just means these 4 questions, unless government asks us again for review, these are the 4 questions they're asking a response for from Rochford Council.
Thank you to the Chief Exec. Could I ask you, please, Leader, to sum up?
Thank you, Chair. Our view on this is a dilution of democracy, and it's going to come at a huge cost. And if my memory serves me right, it is coming at a cost of 72 million for the South East Essex unitary, and reform at the Essex County Council level has already put in a pre-action paper, and they've started the legal process. We do not bear. This represents underrepresentation of Rochford in the new unitary model, and that is why we are not in favour of it. Thank you.
Right, Councillor Malvia, could I ask you, please, in terms of your summing up, to make clear what recommendation you're proposing?
So the recommendation is we will be opposing this motion.
Sorry, there's 2 options.
Yeah, 2. Option 2.
So you're just to be clear, you're opposing option.
Yeah, I'm proposing option 2.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
In that case, I will turn to the recommendations, please, that the council can either agree to option 1, and that is to endorse the proposed responses set out at points A to D in this report for inclusion in the South East Essex submission to the MHCLG.
Sorry, Chairman, could you include an extra item A to D that also encompasses what Councillor Webb raised around the one person for certain wards, just so that we've highlighted it to them? Is that okay? Thank you.
And I can assume that you have a seconder in Councillor Webb.
I'll second that, Chairman. Thank you.
I thought you might. Sorry, members, but I just wanted to, it's important that we get absolute clarity. The leader has proposed option 2, and the monitoring officer is advising that we need to vote specifically on option 2 and then revert to option 1 if it's not carried. So, first of all, can I take option 2, which is very simply option 2, do not approve the proposed responses. Those in favour, please. And those against, please. And any abstentions? So the voting is 13 for option 2, 21 against and 1 abstention, which takes us to option 1. And option
Chairman,
1
do you
is...
need that proposing from one of us? Because I'm happy to propose option 1.
You're moving option 1. Councillor Hoyt, are you moving option 1?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. And Councillor Newport, you're seconding it?
Certainly will be.
Okay. In that case, Councillor Webb.
Thank you, Chairman. Can I just check that's including the amendment, please? Thank you. And I'm told that your comments have been taken account of in that amendment. No, don't apologise. I'm just, you know. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it seems to me pretty clear. Councillor Webb made a pretty compelling speech, and I would have thought we all got the message quite clear. So I would have thought the amendment was self-said. Yeah, I don't think there's any need to go any further. I mean, the point of the amendment is made. So I will now turn to option 1. Endorse the proposed responses set out at points A to D, also taking account of the comments by Councillor Webb earlier in this item, in this report for inclusion in the South East Essex submission to MHCLG in response to the Secretary of State's letter of the 26th of March 2026 attached at Appendix A, and in doing so delegate authority to the Chief Executive to submit these responses on behalf of the Council by no later than the 29th of May 2026. Can I have those in favour of option 1, please? And those against? And any abstentions? 2. So option 1 is agreed by 21 for, 12 against and 2 abstentions. Thank you, members. That concludes the business for the evening. I would certainly like to thank particularly members of the public that have joined us and my invited guests for your forbearance. The meeting has gone on a lot longer than I intended, but there was quite a lot of important business to get through, as well as the ceremonial stuff that we have to deal with. But thank you very much indeed. And I would welcome councillors and their partners and my guests to the civic reception for some very light refreshments. Thank you very much indeed. At 21:40, I'll close the meeting. Thank you.
Please be upstanding for the Chairman of the Council, Councillor Wootton, Vice Chairman of the Council, Councillor Eaves, and the Chief Executive, Jonathan Stevenson.